I'll never forget the exact second my entire life exploded into chaos. It was a cold Tuesday night in Chicago, and I was standing in the middle of Giuseppe's Italian restaurant, holding a tray of dirty dishes, when a tiny little girl with dark curls ran straight toward me. Her chubby arms reached up, her face lit up with pure joy, and she screamed at the top of her lungs, "Mama!" The entire restaurant went dead silent. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. Every single person stopped eating. Forks froze halfway to mouths. Conversations died mid-sentence. And all eyes turned to look at me, a 24-year-old waitress in a stained apron who had never seen this child before in her entire life. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was who was sitting at the table behind her. Travis Monroe. The Travis Monroe. The man everyone in Chicago whispered about, but never said his name too loud. The man who owned half the city and controlled the other half. The man whose cold gray eyes could make grown men cry. The Mafia boss who had more blood on his hands than a butcher's shop floor. And his 2-year-old daughter had just called me her mother. Travis stood up slowly from his table. He was tall, maybe 6'3", with broad shoulders, a perfectly tailored black suit, and a jawline that could cut glass. His face showed absolutely no emotion, but his eyes were burning holes right through me. "What?" he said in a voice so calm it was terrifying. "Did you just call her?" The little girl wrapped her tiny arms around my legs, still calling me Mama over and over again. I looked down at her sweet face, then back up at the most dangerous man in Illinois, and my brain completely shut down. I didn't. I couldn't form a complete sentence. That's when Travis's men stood up too. For huge guys in expensive suits, all of them reaching inside their jackets where I knew they kept their guns. The other customers in the restaurant started panicking. Chairs scraped against the floor as people grabbed their things and rushed toward the exit. My manager, Tony, came running out from the kitchen, his face white as a ghost. "Mr. Monroe, sir, I'm so sorry. I don't know what—" Travis held up one hand, and Tony immediately went quiet. That's the kind of power this man had. One gesture, and people obeyed. "You," Travis said, pointing at me with one long finger. "Come here." My legs felt like they were made of cement, but somehow I managed to shuffle forward. The little girl was still clinging to me, and I didn't know what to do. Should I push her away? Should I pick her up? Every choice felt like it might get me killed. When I got close enough, Travis leaned down and looked at his daughter. His voice softened just a fraction. "Sophia!" "Honey, that's not Mommy." But Sophia shook her head hard, her dark curls bouncing. "Mama, Mama, Mama." She pointed at me with absolute certainty. Travis's jaw clenched. He looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. Was it anger? Confusion? Suspicion? "What's your name?" Danielle. I stammered. "Danielle Rhodes." "I swear, Mr. Monroe, I've never met your daughter before. I don't know why she—" "Where are you from?" "Here. Chicago. Born and raised. South Side. I've worked at this restaurant for 2 years. I'm just a waitress. I promise I didn't." "Show me your ID." My hands were shaking so bad, I almost dropped my wallet when I pulled it out. Travis took my driver's license and studied it like he was memorizing every detail. Then he pulled out his phone and took a picture of it. I was dead. I was so dead. This was it. This was how Danielle Rhodes' life was going to end. Shot in the back room of an Italian restaurant because some toddler got confused. But then something even stranger happened. Travis crouched down to his daughter's level. "Sophia, baby, look at Daddy. This lady isn't Mama. You remember Mama went to heaven, right? Mama isn't coming back." My heart cracked a little bit hearing that. This poor little girl had lost a mother, and now she was so desperate for a mom that she'd latched onto a random waitress. But Sophia wasn't having it. She buried her face in my leg and refused to look at her father. "No, this is Mama. She smells like Mama." "Wait, what?" Travis's head snapped up, and he stared at me with laser focus. Slowly, deliberately, he leaned forward and, I kid you not, this man sniffed me, actually took a deep breath near my neck and shoulder. I froze like a deer in headlights. What kind of mafia boss sniffs people? But then his entire face changed. The coldness cracked. Just for a second, and I saw something flash across his expression. Shock? Recognition? Fear? He stepped back fast, almost stumbling, and his voice came out rough and shaky. What perfume are you wearing? What? I'm not wearing any perfume. I can't afford perfume. I'm a waitress. Soap, then. Shampoo. Lotion. Something. What products do you use? Just whatever's on sale at the drugstore. Usually the cheap stuff. What brand? My mind was spinning. Why did he care about my soap? I don't know. I think it's called Lavender Dreams. It's like $3 a bottle at the dollar store on 5th Street. Travis went completely still. His face turned white. One of his men stepped forward, concerned. Boss? You okay? But Travis wasn't okay. He was staring at me like I was a ghost. His hands were actually trembling. That's impossible, he whispered. That's the exact brand. The exact one she used. Every single day for 5 years. He looked at his daughter, then back at me, then at Sophia again. How is that possible? I had no idea what he was talking about. Who used it? Travis's voice came out strangled. My wife, Sophia's mother. That was her favorite scent. She was obsessed with it. Bought it in bulk. That specific cheap brand from that specific store. He rubbed his face with both hands. She died 8 months ago. Sophia hasn't stopped crying for her mother since. Oh no. The little girl pressed her face into my apron, breathing in deep, and she finally looked calm, content, at peace for the first time since I'd seen her. The restaurant was still dead silent. Everyone was watching this unfold like it was a movie. Travis pulled out his phone again and made a call. Victor, I need a full background check on Danielle Rhodes. South Side Chicago. Everything. Every detail of her life from birth until right now. I want in 1 hour. He hung up and turned those intense gray eyes back on me. You're coming with me. Wait, what? No, I have to finish my shift. Tony, Travis said, without breaking eye contact with me. She's done for the night. Consider her shift covered. He pulled out a stack of $100 bills and dropped them on the nearest table. That should handle it. Tony nodded so fast his head looked like it might fall off. Yes, sir, Mr. Monroe. Absolutely, sir. Whatever you need. Travis put one large hand on my shoulder, and I felt like I was being arrested. You're not in trouble, he said, but his voice wasn't exactly comforting. But we need to talk. My daughter hasn't stopped crying for 8 months, and now she's clinging to you like you're her lifeline. That's not a coincidence. Nothing is ever a coincidence in my world. But I don't understand. Neither do I, but I'm going to find out. He gently picked up Sophia, and she immediately started crying and reaching for me again. Travis's face twisted with pain at his daughter's tears. He looked at me with desperate eyes. Please, just come with us. Just for tonight. Let her calm down. I'll pay you whatever you want. Name your price. This was insane. This was absolutely insane. I should run. I should scream. I should call the cops. But then I looked at little Sophia's tear-streaked face, and I saw so much sadness in those big brown eyes. This baby had lost her mother. She was in pain. And somehow, for some impossible reason, I made her feel better. Okay, I heard myself say. Okay, I'll come. But just for a little while. Travis nodded once. Sharp and quick. That's all I ask. He gestured to his men. Bring the car around. And that's how I ended up walking out of Giuseppe's Italian restaurant, flanked by 4 armed guards, with a mafia boss's daughter reaching for me from his arms, heading toward a future I couldn't even begin to imagine. As we stepped out into the cold Chicago night, I saw the black SUV waiting at the curb. The door opened. Travis gently placed Sophia inside, and she immediately started crying again, begging for Mama. Travis looked at me. Please. I took a deep breath and climbed inside. The door slammed shut behind me, and the SUV pulled away from the curb, driving deeper into the dark Chicago streets. Sophia immediately crawled into my lap and stopped crying. She wrapped her little arms around me and whispered, Mama came back. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might explode. Through the rearview mirror, I could see Travis watching us with an expression I couldn't read. He pulled out his phone and sent a text. 3 seconds later, his phone rang. He answered it, listened, and then his face went completely white. "What do you mean she looks exactly like her?" he said into the phone. "What do you mean the photos are identical?" He looked at me with wide, shocked eyes. "Who the hell are you really, Danielle Rhodes?" Don't click away yet, because what happens next will blow your mind. The truth about why Sophia recognized me? It's darker than anyone could have imagined. And when Travis discovers what I've been hiding, nothing will ever be the same. Stay with me, because this story is just getting started. The SUV drove through Chicago's downtown streets, passing under flickering streetlights that made shadows dance across Travis's face. He was still on the phone, his voice getting sharper with every second. "Victor, I don't care if it seems impossible. Send me the photos. Now." Sophia had fallen asleep in my lap, her tiny hand gripping my uniform. I didn't dare move. I barely dared to breathe. This little girl felt so peaceful now, like all her sadness had just melted away. But I could feel Travis's eyes on me, burning with questions I didn't have answers to. His phone buzzed. He looked down at the screen, and I watched all the color drain from his face. "Pull over," he told the driver, his voice tight. "Right now. Pull over." The SUV jerked to a stop on a quiet street. Travis's hands were shaking as he held up his phone. "I need you to look at something." He turned the screen toward me, and I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. It was a photo of a woman. She had long dark hair, green eyes, and a heart-shaped face with a small scar on her left eyebrow. She was smiling at the camera, holding a baby. Sophia, probably just a few months old. The woman looked exactly like me. I mean exactly. Same hair, same eyes, same face shape, same scar on the eyebrow from when I fell off my bike when I was 7. We could have been twins. No, we could have been the same person. "That's impossible," I whispered. "That's what I said." Travis's voice was rough. "That's my wife, Elena Monroe. She died 8 months ago in a car accident." He swiped to another photo. "This is her at our wedding." Another swipe. "This is her at Sophia's first birthday." Another swipe. "This is her at the beach last summer." Every single photo showed the same woman. The woman who looked exactly like me. My head was spinning. I don't understand. I've never seen her before. I've never even heard of her. How is this possible? Travis leaned forward, his gray eyes intense. "That's what I want to know. Because in my world, coincidences don't exist. Everything happens for a reason." He put his phone away. "I'm going to ask you some questions, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Lie to me once, and this conversation ends very badly. Understand?" I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. "Were you adopted?" "What?" "No, I know my parents. I grew up with them." "Are you sure?" "Sometimes people don't find out until later." "I'm sure. My mom tells me the story of the day I was born all the time. She went into labor at a grocery store in South Side Chicago. My dad drove her to St. Mary's Hospital. I have my birth certificate. I have baby photos. I'm not adopted." Travis's jaw clenched. "Do you have any siblings?" "No, I'm an only child." "What about your parents? Do they have siblings?" I thought about it. My mom has a sister, Aunt Rachel, but she lives in Florida. My dad, I don't know, actually. He never talks about his family. Travis's eyes narrowed. "Never? Not once?" "Well, he said they all passed away before I was born. He said it made him too sad to talk about, so we never pushed." "What's your father's full name?" "Robert James Rhodes." "Why?" Travis pulled out his phone again and sent a text. "I'm having my people look into him. Right now." He looked at me hard. "Has your father ever been to Chicago's North Side? Specifically the Riverside area?" "I don't know. Maybe." "Why?" "Because that's where Elena lived before we met, before she became my wife." He rubbed his temples like he had a headache. "She showed up in Chicago 7 years ago. No family, no history, She said she was running from an abusive ex-boyfriend and needed to start over. I helped her, protected her, fell in love with her. We got married, had Sophia, and I thought we'd have forever together. His voice cracked on that last part, and I saw real pain flash across his face. Then 8 months ago, she was driving home from the grocery store. Her car went off the road and hit a tree. The police said she swerved to avoid a deer. She died instantly. He looked away. Sophia was with the nanny that day. She didn't see it happen, but she's been asking for her mama every single day since. I'm so sorry, I said quietly. Travis looked back at me, and his expression was hard again. Here's what I don't understand. Elena had no family. No one came to her funeral. She had no photos of her past, no old friends, nothing. She was like a ghost who disappeared one day. He leaned closer. And now you appear, looking exactly like her, smelling exactly like her, and my daughter recognizes you instantly. But that doesn't make any sense. I've been in Chicago my whole life. I've never disappeared or started over or anything like that. Then explain to me how you're identical to my dead wife. I can't explain it. I'm just as confused as you are. Sophia stirred in my lap, making a small whimpering sound. Both Travis and I immediately went quiet, not wanting to wake her. She settled back into sleep, and the silence in the car felt heavy. Travis's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and his expression changed. Victor found something. He read the message, his eyes moving fast. Then he looked up at me with an expression I couldn't read. Your father, Robert Rhodes, doesn't exist. What? I mean, he exists now. You have a father named Robert Rhodes. But before 25 years ago, there's no record of him. No birth certificate. No school records. No nothing. It's like he appeared out of thin air. Travis showed me his phone. And look at this. 25 years ago, there was a man named Robert Patterson who died in a house fire in Boston. But 3 months later, a man named Robert Rhodes appeared in Chicago with a pregnant wife. My stomach dropped. Are you saying my dad stole a dead person's identity? I'm saying your father is hiding something big, and I need to know what. Travis's phone rang. He answered it immediately. What did you find? He listened, and his face went pale. Are you absolutely sure? More listening. Send me everything. Every single document. He hung up and looked at me with an expression that was half shock, half something else. Something almost like fear? Danielle, I need you to stay very calm when I tell you this. Tell me what? My people just pulled Elena's medical records from when she had Sophia. They ran her DNA for some genetic testing during the pregnancy. He took a deep breath. They compared it to what we know about you. Your high school records have your blood type. Your fingerprints are in the system from when you got your food handler's license. And according to the genetic markers they can cross-reference, there's a 99% chance that you and Elena are related. Not just related. You're either sisters or again. He paused. Or you're the same person. The world tilted sideways. That's impossible. I'm not her. I'm me. I've always been me. I know it sounds crazy, but look at the facts. You look identical. You use the same products. You're the right age. And somehow you're genetically connected to her. Travis ran his hands through his hair. There's only one explanation that makes sense, and it's completely insane. What explanation? He looked me dead in the eyes. Twins. You and Elena were twins, separated at birth or in early childhood. Your father, whoever he really is, took you and disappeared, changed his identity, raised you in secret, never told you the truth. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But why? Why would anyone do that? That's the million-dollar question. Travis leaned back in his seat. Elena was running from someone. Someone dangerous enough that she had to erase her entire past. What if you were both running? What if your father was protecting you from the same threat? But from who? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. He looked at Sophia sleeping peacefully in my lap. My daughter just lost her mother. She's in pain every single day. And now she's found you, someone who might actually be her mother's twin sister, her aunt. His voice got rough. I can't take you away from her. Not now. Not when you're the only thing that's made her stop crying in 8 months. What are you saying? I'm saying I need your help. I need you to stay with us, at least for a little while. Let Sophia get to know you. Let her heal. He pulled out his wallet and handed me a thick stack of bills. I'll pay you $10,000 a week. You won't have to work at the restaurant anymore. You'll stay in my house, help take care of Sophia, and in return, I'll use all my resources to find out the truth about who you really are. $10,000 a week? That was more money than I made in 6 months at the restaurant. But this was also insane. This was a mafia boss, a dangerous man, and I'd be living in his house, surrounded by his world. I don't know. Please. That one word, coming from Travis Monroe, sounded like it physically hurt him to say. My daughter needs you, and honestly, I need answers. I need to know why my wife looked exactly like you. I need to know what she was running from. Because if she was in danger and you're connected to her, then you might be in danger too. That thought hadn't even occurred to me. If someone was after Elena and I was her twin, oh, God. Exactly. Travis's expression was grim. Until we know what's going on, you're not safe. But with me, under my protection, no one can touch you. I'm offering you safety, answers, and more money than you've ever seen. All you have to do is stay with us and help my daughter heal. I looked down at Sophia, this sweet little girl who'd been suffering for 8 months. This baby who'd lost everything and finally found a tiny bit of peace in my arms. How could I say no to that? Okay, I whispered. Okay, I'll stay. For Sophia. Travis's whole body relaxed. Thank you. He pulled out his phone again. Victor, bring the car to the house. And I need you to do something else. Find Robert Rhodes. Bring him to me. Tonight. I don't care where he is or what he's doing. Find him and bring him to me. I need answers, and he's the only one who has them. He hung up and looked at me. We're going to my house now. You'll have your own room, your own bathroom, everything you need. Tomorrow morning, we're going to sit down with your father and get the truth. What if he doesn't tell you? Travis's smile was cold. Everyone talks eventually. It's just a matter of asking the right questions. The SUV started moving again, driving through the dark streets of Chicago. We headed away from my neighborhood, away from everything I knew, toward the fancy north side, where people like Travis Monroe lived. After about 20 minutes, we pulled up to a huge mansion with iron gates and security cameras everywhere. The gates opened automatically, and we drove up a long driveway. Welcome to your new home, Travis said. At least for now. I carried Sophia inside, following Travis through a massive entrance hall with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Everything screamed money and power. A woman in her 50s came hurrying toward us. Mr. Monroe, thank goodness you're home. I was so worried when Sophia ran off at the restaurant. She stopped dead when she saw me carrying Sophia. Her face went white as a sheet. Dear God, Elena? It's not Elena, Travis said quietly. Her name is Danielle, and we have a lot to explain. But the woman, who I guess was the nanny, couldn't stop staring at me. How is this possible? That's what we're trying to figure out. Travis gestured toward the stairs. Mrs. Patterson, can you show Danielle to the guest room? The one next to Sophia's. Mrs. Patterson nodded, still looking shocked. Of course. This way, dear. I followed her upstairs, still carrying sleeping Sophia. The guest room was bigger than my entire apartment. It had a huge bed, a private bathroom, and windows that looked out over a garden. You could put Sophia in her room, Mrs. Patterson said softly. It's right through that door. She pointed to a connecting door between the two rooms. I carried Sophia through and laid her down gently in her toddler bed. She didn't wake up, just curled into her blankets with a peaceful smile on her face. Mrs. Patterson was crying quietly. She hasn't slept like that since Elena died. She's been having nightmares every night. She looked at me with watery eyes. I don't know who you are or how this is possible, but thank you. Thank you for giving that baby some peace. I didn't know what to say to that. I went back to my room and sat on the edge of the bed, my mind spinning with everything that had happened. Just this morning, I'd woken up in my tiny apartment, worried about making rent. Now I was in a mansion, with a mafia boss downstairs, and apparently I had a twin sister I never knew about who was dead. This couldn't be real. This had to be a dream. A weird, impossible dream. But then I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. Travis's voice echoed up the stairs, cold and dangerous. Bring him to the study. Now! More footsteps. Struggling sounds. And then a voice I recognized, filled with panic and fear. Let me go. I didn't do anything. I don't know what this is about. My blood turned to ice. That was my father's voice. They'd found him. They'd brought him here. And from the sound of things, he knew exactly why. I ran to my door and peeked out into the hallway. Four of Travis's men were dragging my father toward a room at the end of the hall. My dad was fighting them, but he wasn't strong enough. Travis followed behind, his face like stone. Robert Rhodes. Or should I say Robert Patterson? Or maybe that's not your real name either. He turned and saw me standing in my doorway. His eyes locked with mine. Come with me, Danielle. It's time your father told us the truth about who you really are. My dad saw me then, and his face went from panic to absolute terror. Danny, baby, don't come down here. Go back in your room. Please. But I couldn't. I had to know. I followed him down the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. Whatever my father was about to tell us, I had a feeling it was going to change my entire life forever. And I was right. You won't believe what Danielle's father reveals next. The truth about her past is darker than anyone imagined, and it connects to a secret that's been buried for over 2 decades. Someone powerful has been looking for her this whole time, and they're getting close. Stay with me, because the what happened next will blow your mind. Travis's study was exactly what you'd expect from a mafia boss. Dark with panels on the walls. Expensive leather furniture. A massive desk that probably cost more than my car. And weapons. I could see at least 3 guns displayed in glass cases. They pushed my father into a chair in the center of the room. His hands were shaking. His face was covered in sweat. He looked 10 years older than he had this morning. Dad! My voice came out small and scared. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. Danny, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to find out like this. Travis circled around the chair like a shark. Find out what, Robert? Or should I call you by your real name? He pulled out a folder and slammed it on the desk. We pulled records from Boston. Robert Patterson died in 1999, but you showed up in Chicago 3 months later with a pregnant wife and a stolen identity. So who are you really? My dad's whole body was shaking now. My real name is David Mitchell. I work for the FBI. The room went dead silent. The FBI? I whispered. I was undercover, Dad continued, his voice breaking. 25 years ago, I was investigating the biggest crime family in the Northeast, the Castellanos. They controlled everything: drugs, weapons, human trafficking, money laundering, you name it. And the boss, Vincent Castellano, was untouchable. We couldn't get any evidence on him. Travis leaned against his desk, arms crossed. What does this have to do with my wife and Danielle? Everything. Dad looked at me with guilt written all over his face. Vincent Castellano had a wife. Her name was Maria. They had twin daughters together. Beautiful little girls born in March of 1999. He swallowed hard. Your birthday, Danny. My stomach dropped. Those twins were you and Elena. No. That's impossible, I said. You're my father. You and Mom raised me. You're lying. I'm not your biological father, Dad said quietly. I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm not. Your real father is Vincent Castellano, one of the most dangerous crime lords in American history. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. Travis's men shifted uncomfortably. Even Travis looked shocked. Vincent's wife, Maria, she was different from him. Dad continued. She was kind, gentle. She hated the violence and the crime. When the twins were born, she told me she wanted out. She wanted to take her babies and run away from Vincent before he could turn them into monsters like him. So what happened? Travis demanded. I helped her. I shouldn't have. It was against protocol. But I couldn't let those babies grow up in that world. We made a plan. Maria would fake her death, take the twins, and disappear. I would help her get new identities and relocate somewhere safe. Dad's voice got shakier. But Vincent found out. The night we were supposed to leave. He came home early. There was a fight. Maria was panicking, trying to protect her babies. Vincent was raging, screaming that she betrayed him. And then he put his face in his hands. He shot her, right in front of those baby girls. Maria died in my arms. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. This couldn't be real. Vincent was going to kill me too, Dad said. But then he looked at those babies, at you and Elena, crying in your crib, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, "These girls are Castellanos. They belong to MY World. They'll grow up to be queens of my empire. So how did you escape?" Travis asked. The FBI raided the house that night. There was a shootout, total chaos. Buildings burning, people screaming, gunfire everywhere. In the confusion, I grabbed both babies and ran. I was supposed to bring you to protective custody, but I knew what would happen. You'd be put in the system. Vincent had people everywhere, cops, judges, social workers. He'd find you eventually. Dad looked at me with desperate eyes. So I did something crazy. I took you and ran. I faked my death in that fire. I stole a dead man's identity. I called my girlfriend your mother and told her I was in trouble and needed help. She didn't ask questions. She just came. She raised you as her own, even though she knew you weren't biologically hers. But what about Elena? I asked, my voice shaking. You said there were 2 babies. Dad's face crumbled. I couldn't take both of you. I tried. I swear I tried, but I was running for my life with FBI agents and Castellanos men everywhere. I had to make a choice. Tears ran down his face. I grabbed you from the crib. You were the one closest to me. But Elena was still there, crying, and I had to leave her behind. You left her. I felt sick. You left a baby in a burning building. The FBI got her out. I made sure someone knew she was there, but by then, I was already gone. I disappeared into the night with you, and I never looked back. He sobbed. I saved one daughter and abandoned the other. I've lived with that guilt every single day for 25 years. Travis's voice was cold as ice. So, what happened to Elena? How did she end up in Chicago 7 years ago? I don't know. Dad admitted. I've been trying to keep tabs on her over the years, but it was dangerous. Any connection to my old life could get us both killed. From what I could find out, she was put in foster care. The FBI couldn't prove who she was. We destroyed all the birth records to protect them. She bounced around different homes for years. Then she turned 18 and disappeared from the system. And Vincent? Travis asked. Where's he now? Prison. He got arrested 2 months after that night. Sentenced to 30 years. But here's the thing. Dad looked terrified. He gets out next month. And the first thing he's going to do is look for his daughters. The daughters were the last connection he has to his dead wife. The daughters he thinks can continue his legacy. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. So Elena was running from him. Travis said slowly. She found out her father was a crime boss about to be released, and she came to Chicago to hide. She must have. Dad agreed. She probably changed her name, changed everything about herself, just like we did. He looked at me. But Danny, you have to understand. I kept you hidden for a reason. If Vincent ever found out you existed, he'd come for you. He'd force you into his world. You'd become a tool for his empire, just like he planned when you were born. I felt numb. My entire life was a lie. My father wasn't my father. My mother wasn't my mother. I had a twin sister I never knew about who died 8 months ago. And my real father was a monster in prison who was about to get out. There's more, Dad said quietly. Something I haven't told you yet. How can there possibly be more? I shouted. Vincent's organization never fell apart. Even in prison, he's been running things through his lieutenants, and they've been looking for his daughters. They've been searching for 25 years. Dad's voice dropped to a whisper. That car accident that killed Elena 8 months ago? I don't think it was an accident. Travis went very still. What are you saying? I'm saying they found her. They knew who she was. And they killed her. Why? Travis demanded. Why would they kill her if Vincent wanted his daughters back? Because she had something Vincent wants. Something Maria hid the night she died. Dad reached into his pocket slowly. Travis's men immediately pulled their guns, but he just pulled out a small key. Maria gave this to me before she died. She said open a safe deposit box. Inside that box is evidence. Evidence that could destroy Vincent's entire organization. Bank accounts, names, locations, everything. He held up the key. Elena had an identical key. Maria split the information between 2 boxes, so no one person could access it all. Only both daughters together could open both boxes and get the full evidence. He looked at Travis. If Elena told anyone about that key before she died, that's why they killed her. They needed to make sure no one could ever access that information. But why not kill Danielle too? One of Travis's men asked. Because they don't know about her, Dad said. They don't know twins exist. They only knew about Elena because she made contact with someone from her past. Someone who recognized her and told Vincent's people. Travis's face was dark with anger. My wife was murdered because of this. He grabbed the key from Dad's hand. Where's the safe deposit box? I don't know. Maria never told me. She said only her daughters would be able to figure it out. Something about a place that meant something to their mother. Dad looked at me desperately. Danny, I know this is a lot, but you're in danger now. If Vincent's people find out you exist, if they know there's another daughter with another key, they'll come for you. Then we keep her hidden, Travis said. His voice was firm, protective. She stays here under my protection. No one knows she exists except the people in this room, and we keep it that way. But what about Vincent? I asked, my voice small. He gets out of prison next month. What happens then? Travis looked at me with those intense gray eyes. Then we'll be ready for him. A phone rang. One of Travis's men answered it, listened, and his face went pale. Boss, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Someone just tried to break into Danielle's apartment. Our guys who were watching it caught 3 men picking the lock. They had guns and were asking neighbors about a girl who looks like Elena Monroe. The room froze. They know, Dad whispered. They already know about Danny. Travis moved fast. He barked orders to his men. Lock down the house. Security on full alert. No one comes in or out without my permission. Get everyone armed and ready. He turned to me. You're not leaving this house. Not until we figure out how they found you and how to stop them. But my mom, my adoptive mom, she's at home. She doesn't know any of this. If they go to my apartment and I'm not there, we'll bring her here too, Travis said. She'll be safe. I promise. Another phone rang. This time it was Travis's phone. He answered it, listened, and his expression changed to pure rage. When, he demanded into phone. How many? He hung up and looked at me with serious eyes. Danielle, I need you to stay very calm. What happened? Someone just posted your photo online. On a dark web forum used by Vincent's organization. They're calling you Elena's twin. They're saying there's a bounty on your head. $5 million to whoever brings you to Vincent Castellano alive. $5 million. Every criminal in the country would be looking for me now. How did they get my photo? I asked. Travis looked grim. The restaurant. Someone must have been watching. They saw what happened with Sophia. They saw us leave together. They figured out who you were. He ran his hands through his hair. This is my fault. I should have been more careful. It's not your fault, Dad said. They would have found her eventually. Vincent's people are everywhere. A loud crash came from downstairs. Then gunfire. Someone was attacking the house. Travis pulled out his gun. Get Danielle and her father upstairs. locked him in the panic room with Sophia and Mrs. Patterson. Now! His men grabbed us and started pulling us toward the door. More gunfire erupted. Glass shattered. I could hear men shouting, fighting, dying. We ran upstairs. Mrs. Patterson was already in Sophia's room, holding the sleeping toddler. "What's happening?" "We're under attack," one of Travis's men said. "This way. There's a safe room." He pushed open a section of wall that I didn't even know was there. Behind it was a small room with thick metal walls, food, water, and weapons. They shoved us inside. "Stay here. Don't come out until Mr. Monroe gives the all-clear." The metal door slammed shut. We could still hear the fighting outside. Gunshots, screams, explosions. Sophia woke up crying. I took her from Mrs. Patterson and held her close, tried to comfort her even though I was terrified myself. Dad put his arm around me. "I'm so sorry, Danny. I'm sorry I lied to you your whole life. I thought I was protecting you. You should have told me the truth," I said, tears running down my face. "I deserve to know." I know, baby girl. And I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I promise." The fighting outside got louder. Then, suddenly it stopped. Complete silence. We waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. Then a knock on the door. 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Pause. 1 time. "That's the code," Mrs. Patterson whispered. "That means it's safe." The door opened. Travis stood there, covered in blood. I couldn't tell if it was his or someone else's. "They're gone," he said. "For now." "Did you catch any of them?" "One. He's alive. Barely." Travis's smile was cold. "And he's going to tell me exactly who sent them and how they found you." He looked at me, and his expression softened just a little. "I made you a promise, Danielle. You're under my protection now. And I don't break my promises. No one is going to hurt you. Not Vincent's people, not anyone. But they're going to keep coming." I said, "I know, which is why we need to go on offense." He held up the key my father had given him earlier. "We're going to find those safe deposit boxes. We're going to get that evidence. And we're going to destroy Vincent Castellano's empire before he ever gets out of prison." "How?" Travis's eyes were hard as stone. "We're going to finish what your mother started 25 years ago. We're going to bring down the entire Castellano family. And you're going to help me do it." Everything just changed. Danielle isn't just a waitress anymore. She's the daughter of a crime lord, the key to destroying an empire, and now she has a $5 million bounty on her head. But the biggest twist is still coming, because there's someone else who knows the truth about Danielle's past. Someone who's been watching this whole time, and what they want will shock you. Keep reading, because Chapter 4 is where everything explodes. Dawn was breaking over Chicago, painting the sky pink and orange. But inside Travis's mansion, everything was dark and tense. I hadn't slept at all. How could I? I'd spent the whole night holding Sophia while she slept, thinking about everything I'd learned. My real mother, my twin sister, my biological father, the monster who was coming for me. Mrs. Patterson brought me coffee around 6 in the morning. "You should rest, dear. You look exhausted." "I can't sleep." I looked down at Sophia's peaceful face. "How can I sleep when there are people trying to kill me?" "Mr. Monroe won't let anything happen to you. I've worked for him for 5 years, and I've never seen him so protective of anyone. Not since." She trailed off. "Not since Elena?" Mrs. Patterson nodded sadly. "He loved her so much. When she died, a part of him died too. But watching him with you last night, protecting you, promising to keep you safe, I saw that spark come back in his eyes. The spark of someone who has something worth fighting for." Before I could respond, Travis appeared in the doorway. He'd changed clothes and cleaned up, but he still looked exhausted and angry. "Danielle, your father, my study, now." We got information from the attacker. My stomach dropped. I gently laid Sophia down in her bed and followed Travis downstairs. Dad was already waiting in the study, looking nervous. Travis pulled up security footage on his computer. "This is from the interrogation. Watch." The video showed one of Travis's men questioning the attacker, a young guy, maybe 30 years old, tied to a chair with blood on his face. "Who sent you?" Travis's man asked. "I'm not telling you anything." The attacker spat. Then Travis himself walked into frame. Even on video, his presence was terrifying. He leaned down close to the attacker's face. "You have two choices," Travis said calmly. "You tell me who sent you, or I let my daughter Sophia grow up without knowing what happened to men who try to hurt her new family. Your choice." The attacker's face went pale. Everyone knew that Travis Monroe protected his family above all else. And everyone knew what happened to people who threatened them. "Fine, fine." The attacker was shaking now. It was Castellano's people. But not Vincent, his brother, Marco Castellano. Dad's face went white. "Marco? I thought he died years ago." "Everyone thought that," the attacker said on the video. "But he's been alive this whole time, hiding in Europe. When Vincent went to prison, Marco took over the entire operation. He's been running it for 25 years. Travis paused the video and looked at us. "This changes everything. We thought Vincent was a threat, but his brother has been the one pulling strings all along. Marco was always a smart one," Dad said quietly. "Vincent was muscle and rage. But Marco was cold, calculated, strategic. If he's been building the empire for 25 years without anyone knowing he's alive, then he's more dangerous than Vincent ever was," Travis finished. "And he's the one who's been hunting the twins." He played more of the video. The attacker was crying now. "Marco found out about Elena 5 years ago. He's been watching her ever since. When she married you, Mr. Monroe, he got nervous. You're too powerful, too connected. He couldn't just grab her. So he waited, planned, and 8 months ago he made his move." "The car accident," Travis said, his voice cold as death. "It wasn't an accident. Marco's men cut her brake lines. They made it look like she lost control." The attacker was sobbing. "But here's the thing. They didn't mean to kill her. They just wanted to scare her, force her to reach out to them for help. But she swerved too hard, hit the tree wrong, and died instantly." Travis's hands were shaking with rage. The video showed him grabbing the attacker by the throat. "You're telling me my wife's death was a mistake? You people killed the mother of my child by accident. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wasn't part of it. I just heard about it." Travis let him go and stepped back. "And Danielle? How did you find her?" "Marco had someone watching you. When your daughter called Danielle Mama at the restaurant, they knew. They figured out twins existed. Marco put the bounty out immediately." The video ended. Travis turned off the computer and looked at me with intense eyes. "Marco Castellano has been watching us. He knows about you. He knows you're here. And he's not going to stop until he gets what he wants." "What does he want?" I asked. "The same thing Vincent wants. The evidence your mother hid. Those safe deposit boxes." Travis pulled out a map of Chicago. "We need to find them before Marco does. Your father said Maria told him the location meant something to her daughters. Think, Danielle, is there any place that feels familiar to you? Any dreams or memories that might be Maria's memories?" I thought hard, but I'd been a baby when Maria died. How could I possibly remember anything? I don't know. I don't remember anything before I was 3 or 4 years old. "What about feelings?" Dad suggested. "Places that made you feel safe or scared for no reason?" I closed my eyes and tried to think. Were there any places in Chicago that gave me weird feelings? And then it hit me. The fountain. I whispered, "In Grant Park, near the lake." When I was little, Mom would take me there, and I always felt. I struggled to find the words. I felt sad, like I'd lost something important there. Mom said I cried every time we visited. Travis and Dad exchanged looks. "Grant Park," Travis said. "Maria could have hidden the boxes somewhere near there. A bank in that area, maybe." He pulled up a list of banks on his computer. "There are 4 banks within walking distance of Grant Park. We'll check them all." "But we don't know which name she used," Dad pointed out. "She could have opened the boxes under any name." "Then we'll check every single box," Travis said firmly. We have the key. We have the general location. We'll find it. A knock on the door. One of Travis's men stuck his head in. Boss, we have a visitor. Says her name is Danielle's mother, Linda Rhodes. She's demanding to see her daughter. Mom. I jumped up. Is she okay? She's fine. A little shaken up, but fine. We picked her up from your apartment before Marco's people could get to her. Relief flooded through me. Can I see her? Travis nodded. Bring her in. A minute later, my mom, the woman who raised me even though she knew I wasn't biologically hers, rushed into the room and grabbed me in a fierce hug. Danny, oh my God, are you okay? These men showed up at my door, saying you were in danger, and I didn't know what to think. She pulled back and looked at my face. You know, don't you? You know the truth. Tears filled my eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Mom's face crumbled. Because I love you. Because from the moment David brought you to me, you were MY's daughter. Biology didn't matter. You were mine, and I was going to protect you no matter what. She glared at Dad, even if it meant living alive for 25 years. I'm sorry, Linda, Dad said quietly. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. I'm not. Mom looked at me with fierce love. I got to be Danny's mother. I got to watch her grow up. That's worth everything. I hugged her tight, crying, I love you, Mom. You're my real mom, the one who was there for me, the one who raised me. And I always will be, she whispered. Travis cleared his throat awkwardly. I hate to interrupt, but we need to move fast. Marco knows where Danielle is. He's going to make another move soon. We need to find those boxes today. Then let's go, I said, wiping my tears. Let's end this. We were about to leave when Travis's phone rang. He answered it, and his face went from angry to shocked to absolutely furious. What do you mean she's gone? He shouted into the phone. How is that possible? He hung up and looked at me with panic in his eyes. Sophia. Someone took Sophia from her room. My blood turned to ice. What? How? The house is locked down. Mrs. Patterson. She's gone too. Travis was already running toward the stairs, all of us following. It had to be someone inside, someone we trusted. We burst into Sophia's room. The bed was empty. The window was open, and on the pillow was a note written in red ink. Travis grabbed it and read aloud. You have something I want. I have something you love. Bring both keys and both parents to the old warehouse on South Morgan Street by midnight tonight. Come alone. No police. No backup. If I see anyone else, the child dies. Marco. Travis crumpled the note in his fist, his whole body shaking with rage. He has my daughter. That monster has my baby girl. Mrs. Patterson must have been working for him. One of his men said, she's been in the house for 5 years. She could have been a spy the whole time. But why now? Mom asked, why wait 5 years to make a move? Because he didn't need to before, Dad said grimly. Elena was alive. He thought he could use her to get the evidence. But when she died, he had to change plans. And when he found out about Danielle, he saw his opportunity. I felt sick. He's going to use Sophia as leverage. He knows Travis will do anything to get her back. You're damn right I will, Travis said. His voice was deadly calm now. The rage had turned into cold, focused determination. We're going to that warehouse tonight. We're getting Sophia back. And then I'm going to kill Marco Castellano with my bare hands. It's a trap, Dad warned. He'll have an army there. He'll take the keys, kill all of us, and keep Sophia as insurance in case he needs her later. I know it's a trap. Travis loaded his gun and tucked it into his holster. But I don't care. He has my daughter. I'm going. Then I'm going too. I said, he wants both parents. He wants me there. Absolutely not. Travis, look at me. I grabbed his arm. Sophia called me Mama. She bonded with me. If she's scared and alone with these monsters, she might need me. And I'm not letting her face this without me. I'm going. Travis stared at me for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, but you follow my lead. You do exactly what I say. No arguments. Deal. Mom grabbed my hand. Danny, this is crazy. You could die. Sophia could die if I don't help. I squeeze her hand. Mom, you raised me to be brave, to stand up for people who need help. Well, a little girl needs me now, and I'm not going to abandon her the way she was abandoned once before. Mom's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. Then be careful, and come back to me. I will. I promise. Travis gathered his men. We have until midnight. That's 18 hours. We use that time to prepare, gather weapons, plan our strategy. Marco wants a war? We'll give him one he'll never forget. The day passed in a blur of planning and preparation. Travis's men brought in enough weapons to supply a small army. Dad showed us blueprints of the warehouse. He'd raided places like it back in his FBI days. Mom made sure I ate something, even though my stomach was in knots. And then, as the sun started to set, Travis pulled me aside. I need to tell you something, he said quietly. About Elena. About why I'm so protective of you. You don't have to. I do. He looked out the window at the darkening sky. When Elena died, I didn't just lose my wife. I lost my best friend, my partner, the only person who ever really understood me. I was drowning in grief and rage. And then you showed up, looking just like her, making my daughter smile for the first time in 8 months. It felt like I was getting a second chance. He turned to look at me. I know you're not Elena. You're your own person, Danielle, but you gave me hope again. You reminded me that there are still things worth fighting for, and I will not let Marco take that away from me. I will not lose you the way I lost her. You won't lose me, I said. We're going to get Sophia back. Together. Together, he agreed. At 11:30 that night, we got in the SUV. Travis drove. I sat in the passenger seat. Dad and 3 of Travis's best men were in the back, hidden under blankets with weapons ready. Remember, Travis said as we drove through the dark Chicago streets, when we get there, let me do the talking. Don't reveal that we have backup. Make Marco think we came alone like he asked. Got it. We pulled up to the warehouse at exactly midnight. It was in an abandoned industrial area. No other buildings, no witnesses. Perfect for an ambush. The warehouse doors were open. A figure stood silhouetted in the light. That's him, Dad whispered. That's Marco Castellano. Travis and I got out of the SUV slowly, hands visible. We walked toward the warehouse together. Marco stepped into the light, and I got my first look at him. He was probably in his 60s, with silver hair, cold blue eyes, and a smile that made my skin crawl. And in his arms, crying softly, was Sophia. Mama. Sophia reached for me when she saw me. Mama. Hello, nieces, Marco said in a smooth voice. Or should I say niece, singular, since Elena is dead. Such a shame, such a waste. Let the girl go, Travis said, his voice deadly. This is between us. Oh, I will, once I get what I want. Marco's smile widened. You brought the keys? Travis held up one key. I held up the other. Dad had given me Elena's key before we left. Good. Now throw them to me. First let Sophia go. I don't think you're in a position to make demands. Marco snapped his fingers, and suddenly 20 men with guns stepped out from the shadows, surrounding us. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and I have all the leverage. That's when everything went wrong. A laser sight appeared on my forehead. Actually, a familiar voice said from behind us, I have all the leverage. I turned slowly. Standing there with a gun pointed at my head was Mrs. Patterson. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was who was standing next to her. My mother, Linda Rhodes, the woman who raised me. The woman who hugged me and told me she loved me just hours ago. She had a gun too, and she was pointing at Travis. I'm sorry, Danny, Mom said, and she actually sounded sorry. But some secrets are worth more than love. My world shattered into a million pieces. Mom, my voice cracked. What are you doing? She smiled sadly. What I've been doing for 25 years. My job. Marco laughed. Did you really think David Mitchell was the only FBI agent involved in this story? Linda Rhodes has been my inside source for 25 years. She's the one who told me when Elena surfaced in Chicago. She's the one who told me about you. She's been working for me since before you were even born. No, this couldn't be real. But you raised me, I whispered. You loved me. I did love you, Mom said, and tears were running down her face. That was real, but I had a mission. And that mission was to make sure that when the time came, I could deliver Vincent Castellano's daughters to their rightful family. The woman who raised me, the woman who tucked me in at night and kissed my scraped knees and told me she'd always protect me. She'd been a spy all along. You thought you knew who to trust. You thought you understood the betrayals. But you were wrong, because there's one more secret that no one saw coming. One more twist that will change everything. And when Danielle finds out the truth about who she really is, nothing will ever be the same. The final chapter is coming, and it's going to blow your mind. Don't miss the ending that everyone is talking about. I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. The woman who raised me, who I called Mom for 24 years, was pointing a gun at the man trying to protect me. Why? That one word was all I could get out. Why would you do this? Mom's face was full of pain, but her gun hand was steady. Because I had to. Because 25 years ago, I made a choice, and I've been living with it ever since. Enough talking, Marco snapped. He held Sophia tighter, making her cry. Give me the keys or the child dies. It's that simple. Travis's whole body was tense, ready to fight. But with 20 guns pointed at us and Sophia in danger, he couldn't make a move. I looked at the key in my hand. The key my real mother had died protecting. The key that could destroy an entire criminal empire. Okay, I said. Okay, I'll give it to you. Just please don't hurt Sophia. Danielle, no. Travis started. She's a baby, Travis. I won't let her die because of me. I started to walk toward Marco, holding out the key. That's when Mom spoke again, and her voice was different. Stronger, colder. Marco, you always were an idiot. Marco's head whipped toward her. What did you say? Mom's sad expression melted away, replaced by a hard, fierce look I'd never seen before. I said you're an idiot. Did you really think I spent 25 years watching these girls just to hand them over to you? She turned her gun away from Travis and pointed it directly at Marco. Mrs. Patterson did the same thing, turning her weapon toward Marco's men instead of us. Linda, what are you doing? Marco's voice was sharp with panic. My job, Mom said. My real job. The one I've been doing since before you faked your death and ran to Europe like a coward. She reached into her jacket with her free hand and pulled out a badge. An FBI badge. Special Agent Linda Mitchell. Yes, Mitchell. David's wife. We've been partners for 30 years. My brain couldn't process what was happening. Your FBI? I whispered. Undercover for 25 years, Mom confirmed. When David brought you home as a baby, we made a plan. We'd raise you in hiding, yes, but we'd also use you as bait. We knew eventually Marco would come looking for Vincent's daughters, and when he did, we'd be ready. Marco's face was red with rage. You've been feeding me false information this whole time. Every single word, Mom said with satisfaction. Every location I gave you for Elena was wrong. Every detail about Danielle was a lie. The only reason you found them at all was because Travis's daughter recognized Danielle at that restaurant. That was pure accident. Even I didn't see that coming. She smiled coldly. But the moment you made your move tonight, you walked right into our trap. Did you really think we came here without backup? That's when the warehouse exploded with movement. FBI agents in full tactical gear burst through every door and window, dozens of them, surrounding Marco's men, shouting commands. FBI, drop your weapons. Hands in the air. Marco's men tried to fight back, but they were outnumbered 3-1. Gunfire erupted. Travis grabbed me and pulled me down behind a crate. Dad and Travis's hidden men jumped out of the SUV and joined the fight. It was chaos. Bullets flying everywhere. People screaming. Smoke filling the air. Through it all, I saw Marco try to run toward a back exit, still holding Sophia. No! I jumped up and ran after him. Trav was right behind me. Marco made it to the door, but Mrs. Patterson, who apparently was also FBI, tackled him from the side. Sophia flew out his arms, and I caught her just before she hit the ground. "I've got you, baby," I said, holding her tight. "I've got you." Travis grabbed Marco by the throat and slammed him against the wall. "You killed my wife. You kidnapped my daughter. You threatened my family." "Do it." Marco spat blood. "Kill me. I don't care. Vincent will finish what I started. He gets out in 3 weeks, and he'll come for those girls. You can't stop him." Actually, a new voice said, "He won't." Everyone turned. Standing in the doorway was a man in an expensive suit with federal marshals on either side of him. He held up a folder. "Vincent Castellano died in prison 2 days ago. Heart attack. He's gone." The warehouse went silent. "What?" Marco's face went white. No, that's impossible. He was healthy. He was getting out. He was poisoned," the man in the suit said calmly, "by someone in his own organization who wanted to take over. Turns out, when you run a criminal empire, everyone's waiting for you to die so they can steal your throne." He smiled coldly. "Your brother is dead, Marco. Your empire is crumbling, and you're going to spend the rest of your life in a cell watching it fall apart." Marco's whole body sagged in defeat. Travis let him drop to the floor, where FBI agents immediately handcuffed him. It was over. It was actually over. Mom came over to me, and I didn't know whether to hug her or yell at her. "You've been FBI this entire time? I'm sorry I lied to you, Danny, but it was the only way to keep you safe. If Marco had known I was an agent, he would have killed all of us years ago." She touched my face gently. "But every moment I spent raising you was real. Every bedtime story, every school play, every hug, that was all real. You are my daughter, not by blood, but by choice. And I would do it all again to protect you." Tears ran down my face. "I don't know how to feel about this." "That's okay. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready to talk." Travis took Sophia from my arms and held her close, checking her over for injuries. She was fine, scared but fine. She reached for me, calling Mama, and Travis let her hold my hand while he held her. "Thank you," he said to me, "for running after her, for being brave. I couldn't let her get hurt." He looked at me with those intense gray eyes, and I saw something in them that made my heart skip. "Danielle, I know this whole situation has been insane. You've had your entire life turned upside down. But I want you to know you don't have to leave. You and Sophia, you have something special. And I..." He paused, like he was trying to find the right words. "I'd like you to stay. Not because you look like Elena, but because you're you. Because you're brave and kind and good. Because you make my daughter smile. Because you make me want to be better. Travis, I'm not asking you to be Elena's replacement. I'm asking if maybe, someday, you might want to be part of our family. For real." Before I could answer, Dad came over with the FBI agent in the suit. "Danielle, this is Special Agent Harrison. He's been coordinating this operation from Washington." Agent Harrison shook my hand. "Ms. Rhodes, or should I say Ms. Castellano, you've been incredibly brave tonight. Thanks to you, we've arrested Marco Castellano and over 30 members of his organization. We've also recovered significant evidence from the scene. The safe deposit boxes," I said. "Did you find them?" "We did. Once we had Marco in custody. He told us everything to try to get a plea deal. The boxes were in a bank near Grant Park, just like you suspected. Your mother, Maria Castellano, hid evidence there 25 years ago. Bank records, names, locations, everything we needed to dismantle the entire Castellano operation. So it's really over? Vincent is dead. Marco is in custody. His organization is falling apart." Agent Harrison smiled. "You're safe now. Both you and your sister's memory can finally rest in peace." I looked down at the key in my hand. The key my real mother died protecting. She was brave. Maria. She tried to save us. She did save you, Dad said. Both of you. Elena got to live a good life with Travis. She got to have a daughter and no real love. And you got to grow up safe and happy, away from all this violence. Maria succeeded in protecting you, even at the cost of her own life. I thought about Elena, my twin sister I never got to meet, the girl who called herself Mama, the woman who looked just like me. We'd never known each other, but we'd been connected our entire lives. I wish I could have known her, I said quietly. Travis's voice was soft. So do I. But, in a way, she led me to you. And maybe that's what she would have wanted. For Sophia to have someone who loved her, and for me to have another chance at happiness. Over the next few hours, the FBI processed the scene. Marco and his men were taken away. The evidence was cataloged. Mom, Agent Mitchell, gave her official statement. As the sun started to rise over Chicago, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Travis drove us back to his mansion. Sophia was asleep in my arms. Dad and Mom sat in the back, holding hands like they hadn't seen each other in years. What happens now? I asked Travis. Now? He glanced at me with a small smile. Now we go home. We have breakfast. We let Sophia play in the garden. We live our lives without looking over our shoulders. He paused. And you decide if you want to keep being part of our lives. I don't want to take Elena's place. You're not taking her place. You're making your own place. Sophia doesn't need a replacement mother. She needs someone who loves her. And I don't need you to be Elena. I just need you to be you. When we got back to the mansion, Sophia woke up and wanted pancakes. So we made pancakes. All of us together in Travis's huge kitchen, me, Travis, Sophia, Mom, Dad, and some of Travis's men who become like family. It felt normal. After all the chaos and danger and revelations, we were just people having breakfast together. Mama, look. Sophia showed me her pancake. It's a heart. It's beautiful, sweetheart, I said. Travis caught my eye and smiled. Not his scary Mafia boss smile. Just a real smile. The smile of a man who'd been through hell and finally found his way back to something good. 3 weeks later, I officially moved into Travis's mansion. Not as his girlfriend or Elena's replacement, just as someone important to Sophia. Someone who'd become part of their family. Mom and Dad, both FBI agents who'd gone undercover for 25 years to protect me, retired and bought a house nearby. We had dinner with them twice a week. The Castellano empire completely fell apart. With both Vincent and Marco gone and all their evidence exposed, hundreds of criminals were arrested. The FBI called it the biggest organized crime bust in 50 years. And me? I went back to school. Travis paid for it, he insisted. I studied criminal justice. I wanted to understand the world my real mother had died fighting against. I wanted to honor her memory. Sophia grew up happy and healthy. She called me Aunt Danny, and that was perfect. I wasn't her mother, but I was someone who loved her completely. And Travis? Over time, very slowly, we became something more than just two people connected by tragedy. We became friends. Then best friends. Then something else. On the first anniversary of the night, Sophia called me Mama in that restaurant. Travis took me to Grant Park, to the fountain where I'd always felt sad as a child. This is where Maria used to bring the twins when they were babies, he said, before everything fell apart. She'd sit right here and dream about giving them a better life. She did give us a better life, I said, in her own way. Travis pulled out a small box. I'm not asking you to be Elena. I'm not asking you to replace anyone. I'm asking if you want to build something new, something that's just ours. Inside the box was a ring. Danielle Rhodes, will you marry me? I looked at him, this dangerous, powerful man who'd chosen to protect me when he didn't have to, who'd fought for his daughter's happiness, who'd slowly, carefully open his heart again. Yes, I said. Yes, I'll marry you. He put the ring on my finger and kissed me as the sun set over Chicago, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Behind us, I heard Sophia laugh. Mom and Dad had brought her to the park, and she was running toward us with her arms wide. Mama, Daddy, look at me. She didn't call me Mama anymore. She called me Danny. But in that moment, with my family around me and my future ahead of me, I realized something important. I wasn't Elena's replacement. I was my own person. I'd survived 25 years of hiding, discovered the truth about my past, faced down criminals, and come out the other side stronger. I was Danielle Rhodes, daughter of an FBI agent and his partner, twin sister to a woman I'd never met but would always love, future stepmother to a little girl who brought me into this crazy world, and soon-to-be wife to a man who'd learned that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. My real mother, Maria, had died protecting her daughters. She'd hidden evidence that would eventually destroy the empire that threatened us. She'd made sure that even if she couldn't be there, we'd have a chance at happiness. And standing there in Grant Park with my family, I realized we'd fulfilled her dream. We were safe. We were loved. We were free. And that was the greatest gift any mother could give. This story proves that justice can prevail. Even after 25 years, that families aren't just about blood. They're about love and sacrifice. And that sometimes the most unexpected encounters can change your entire life. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear that no matter how dark things seem, there's always hope for a better tomorrow. Because in the end, love and truth always win.